had lived on his family's farm in Iowa his whole life. Some morning chores were not uncommon to him, lifting his basket over his head. He had made his way to the large cornfield far behind the barn closet to his house. The harvest season was upon him and his family, so they had been very busy the past few weeks. As he walked out of the field, he couldn't help but notice the scarecrow that was perched high above the swaying corn stalks. The old thing had been in the same spot for as long as he could remember. The years of wear obviously taken the toll on the old scarecrow. Her long, coarse black hair was a mess, her dress tattered and torn, and her pale body stained with dirt and crop dust. He thought to himself about fixing her up someday. He stood silently staring at his old friend, remembering how he shared so much with the eminent object when he was younger and felt alone. Her eternal smiling blank eyes were comforting to him, a silent promise to never tell another soul all he had told her. It had been a couple of years since he had talked to the scarecrow. He had figured an 18-year-old boy would be better off not seen talking to a lifeless object. Though, to him, the scarecrow wasn't lifeless. She was his first and best friend. They lived together, played together, aged together. Come to think of it, he had never noticed before that it seemed like the older he got, the older the scarecrow appeared. He smiled and sat down beside the scarecrow's pole. "Sorry, it's been so long," he whispered up to his friend. "I've been really busy, I suppose." The wind blew through the scarecrow's hair and rustled the hay protruding from her body. "Yeah, I guess that's no excuse. Sorry, but I met this girl," he said, half smiling. "She's amazing. I think, you know, she may be the one." Sudden silence filled his ears as the wind blowing through the cornfield abruptly stopped. The scarecrow stood perched, completely still. "Would you like to meet her? I'm sure she'll love you. I'm having her over for supper tonight. I'll bring her out afterwards and introduce you to," he told the scarecrow as he stood up. He glanced up at his dear old friend once more before heading off to finish his daily chores. "Come on, Lily," he called to the girl, laughing as he ran with her towards the darkened cornfield. He was excited that his girlfriend had agreed to come to dinner to meet his parents, but was a bit nervous to show her his friend. What would she think? He was almost an adult, and he was still talking to an inanimate object. He smiled to himself. What was he thinking about? Lily was so kind and sweet and understanding. Of course she would love to meet her. He turned back to see if his girlfriend was still following, but he couldn't see her. "Lily?" he shouted again. As he looked around for her, he smiled. "Don't think you can hide from me in my own field," he said as he crept around silently looking for her, pushing through the corn stalks. He came upon the scarecrow's perch, seeing the back of his friend's first. "Hey there," he whispered. "I brought you to see you." He broke off suddenly when he walked to the front of the scarecrow. He found it wasn't his friend who was perched on the perch at all, but Lily. Her arms and legs were bound coarsely with dirty ropes. The old wooden post and her stomach cut open, her tunnel fluids dripping from the wound. His face paled and he dropped to his knees in shock. As his hands touched the ground, he felt a piece of paper beside the wooden post. His hands shaking, he picked it up and read the poorly written notes. "Now, you don't have to be so busy," he read aloud, his voice shaking and his eyes filled with tears. He tore up the paper and stood up once more to look at the corpse hanging on the perch in front of him before turning around to meet the ever-smiling face of his dear old friend.